There you go.
Hello, everyone. My name is Stephanie, this is Anthony, and this is Jeff. And our topic is, it is the individual, not the family, that forms the cornerstone of society. Now, I'm going to repeat that again because you guys either just did not understand that or fell asleep during the first half of my sentence, so I'll say it again. It is the individual, not the family, that forms the cornerstone of society. So, an argument to advocate for the individual could be that everyone is unique and they all have their own unique personalities, and in that way, we have an independent way of thinking which adds value to society. But it could also be argued on the other side where our families have such high, heavy influence on the way that we act, and because of this, these values are so heavily instilled in us, and it determines the way we behave and the way we act, and then obviously how we contribute to society. So, Anthony will be advocating for the individual, while Jeff will be advocating for the family, and Anthony, you can go first.
Okay, thank you. Whether we are passionate about someone who is either tied to a religious or philosophical bent, or on the opposite end of the spectrum, someone who is in politics, they all have one thing in common. They are all individuals. It is the individual that forms the cornerstone of society, not the family. I love my family, and they love me. But first and foremost, we respect one another's individuality. When I was younger, and would sometimes lose patience with my siblings, my mother would take me aside and remind me that siblings are like the fingers of one's hand. Although they are all connected to one another, each is its own individual self. The psychological study of creativity states that individuals possess 4 characteristics: originality, perseverance, passion, and confidence, none of which are dependent upon one's family. I have a dream, spoke I have a dream was a speech that we heard from an individual, a very positive individual, a very powerful individual. His dream, Martin Luther King's dream, was to end oppression and unify humankind, regardless of race, creed, or color. It begins with a passion. It begins with this desire to make a difference in the world. It begins with you, the individual. It is the individual, not the family, that forms the cornerstone of society. Thank you.
Thank you, Anthony, for the very compelling argument. Now I will give Jeff the stand.
If you say, somebody gave me the finger, is that a good thing or a bad thing?
It's bad.
If you say somebody gave me a hand, is that a good thing or a bad thing? It's a good thing. Anthony, I would submit to you that although individuals are the fingers, it's the hand that brings it all together. The cornerstone, a cornerstone is the first stone laid in a foundation. Every other stone is now put up against that cornerstone to ensure that the entire foundation is secure. If that cornerstone is off, the entire foundation is unreliable. And the structure built on top of that foundation is doomed to fall. it's not to say that individual stones within that foundation aren't important. Of course they are. They all need to be there. But it's that cornerstone that makes everything else possible. Families are that cornerstone within society. The Catholic Church, and I don't want to get all religious on all y'all, but the Catholic Church says that the health of society is based on the health of the family. We can go to Britain, if you like, and look at the Tribute paper, which has a circulation of over 500,000 readers daily, which is 100,000 more than the Times in New York. Recent articles stating that children who come from broken homes are 9 times more apt to commit a crime than children who come from solid families. And 7 out of 10 youth offenders are children that come from broken homes. So I think in that sense we can see this, if crime is a measure of a society's inability to work, which I think we all agree it is, then using that simple example to say that children who come from homes that are broken are more apt to commit crimes, I think we can see that a pattern will progress and society as a whole can break down. The foundation of society will dictate the success of these children as they grow up. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. So now we will start with some 2 questions, each one for both of you. So Anthony, you said that individuals possess some certain traits, and 4 of them were originality, perseverance, passion, and confidence. So the way I think of it though is, wouldn't those traits arise from your family? How do you through your family and your family support, isn't that what gives you those traits? So if you could kind of clear that up.
Yeah, that's an excellent question. Thank you very much, Steph. Nice animals. When we consider the influence on the individual, it really is a 50-50 toss-up, and I'll explain that. What happens is that genetically, 50% of how we do things, how we interact with others, our family, society, and whatnot, does come from our families, our mothers, our fathers. However, an overwhelming 50% that remains comes from others whom we socialize with. So in the end, it is our decision how we develop based on who we spend our time with. And you see this for yourselves. I mean, how much time are you spending at home versus here at the university? Arguably, you're spending more time with your friends. You mentioned the Catholic Church. No problem. There is one person at the head of the Catholic Church, the Pope. He is an individual. The Pope. Right? Right. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Anthony. Now a question for you, Jeff. So, although family does influence us, it kind of allows a group thing type of thing to happen where we take how our family thinks and we apply it in our own lives. So my question for you is, how do you suggest we kind of break out of that groupthink mold and just shine our individuality?
Thank you, Stephanie. Great question. Although I don't think the answer itself is all that complicated. I only have to look at myself to illustrate how you can still be within, the collective consciousness of a family and still be an individual within that unit. Going back to Anthony's finger on the hand analogy, I thought that was great. I brought the elephants, by the way, because, and I think this answers the question. The elephant is the most powerful, majestic animal walking the face of the earth. I'm not talking about, of course, whales in the sea or sharks. I mean, actual animals walking on the ground. The elephant has no natural predator. if you don't count man, which I don't. And yet, an individual animal like the elephant, so powerful, so strong, so able to be on its own, in the wild, chooses to roam as a family. You don't find elephants on their own. They're always together in a herd. Nature dictates that elephants need families. Who are we to argue against nature?
So now I will leave it up to you guys to decide. If you are in favor of the individual as forming the cornerstone of society, as what Anthony argued, could you please just raise your hand? Cool. If you are in favor of Jeff's argument that it is the family that forms the cornerstone of society, please raise your hand.